What's up, guys? Today I'll be going over the best anime-themed loadout in CSGO. This is all opinion-based, of course, and I just want to clarify that this doesn't necessarily mean the most expensive possible skin for each weapon, but rather I'll be picking the skins that I think are the best fit for the overall vibe and that will fit the anime theme the best. Of the skins I do pick, though, I'll be referencing the most expensive version, and I'll be referring to third-party skin sites for prices rather than the Steam market. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. The first class of weapons we'll be talking about is the pistols. First is the starter pistols. On the CT side, you have the option of using the USPS or the P2000. The USPS has a couple of options that fit the anime theme well, but I think the USPS Neo Noir is the best. It's bright, it's purpley, it has the woman on it. I think it's a good anime skin overall, but you could also use skins like the Cortex or the Kill Confirmed if you'd prefer. I personally like the USPS more than the P2000, so for the sake of this loadout, we'll be going with the Neo Noir, but if you are a P2000 player, I think the Fire Elemental is a sick skin as well. On the terrorist side, we have the Glock 18. I chose the Bullet Queen for this weapon. It's bright and it also has that cartoon woman on it, and it also fits the vibe I'm going for. Another option that could fit though is the Vogue. Next, we have the Dualies. The only two skins that fit the theme well for these are the Melandramas and the Flora Carnivora. This was a tough choice and I really like both of these skins, but the purpley tones on the Flora Carnivoras made me end up going with them. I'm a huge fan of pastel colors like purples, pinks, and light blues, which you'll definitely see more of in this video. Next is the P250. The P250 doesn't really have the best options for anime-themed skins, but I ended up going with the Visions. I feel like it fits the overall vibe I was going for better than the skins like the See You Later and the X-Ray, but those are decent options as well. Next, we have the Desert Eagle or the R8 Revolver. For the Desert Eagle, there aren't that many great options either, but I ended up going with the Fennec Fox for the color scheme. A cheaper option that has a futuristic cyberpunk vibe is the Print Stream, which would also work. I'm a fan of the Deagle, so I'll be going with the Fennec Fox, but if you prefer the RA, I think the Crazy 8 or the Reboot are the best options for you. Next are the 5.7 and Tech 9 or the CZ75. On the CT side, I decided to go with the 5.7 Fairy Tale. This is such a beautiful skin with so much going on. An alternative option to that fits the theme well could be the Angry Mob though. On the T side, the only option for the Tech 9 that resembles anime at all is the Decimator. And if you're more of a CZ person, the Zhanglu is also a dope skin. Next, we have the MP9 or the Mac 10. The MP9 has so many great options, but I ended up going with the Wild Lily. As I said earlier, I love purple, so this is one of my favorite skins in the game. Some more affordable options, though, are the Food Chain and the Mount Fuji. For the T side, the Mac 10 has a bunch of cool options too. There's the Sikaku, the Neon Rider, and even the Propaganda. But the one that stood out to me was the Mac 10 Stalker. Does this look like the Mr. Beast logo to anyone else? Next we have the MP5 or the MP7. I personally use the MP5, and for this skin I went with the Necro Jr. I know most people prefer the MP7 though, so some options for you guys are the Bloodsport and the Abyssal Apparition. Next up is the UMP. This one was a difficult choice because I feel like the Primal Saber has more of an anime feel to it, but I ended up going with the Wild Child because of the color scheme. For the P90, I went a little bit controversial. I think most people would choose the Death by Kitty, but I personally think it's so overrated, so I went with the Neo Queen. The Neo Queen looks so dope and also has more depth to it. This is one of few skins where the Battlescarred version is one of the most expensive wares because the purples pop more, so that's what I ended up going with. The last SMG is the Bison. I went with the Space Cat because it fits the vibe and also has that purple that I love, and I feel like it's a very underrated budget skin. It's only $2 for a StatTrak Factory New version. Now we're into the rifles. The obvious option for the FAMAS on the CT side is the Rapid Eye Movement, which I think is so sick. For the Galil on the T side, I think the Cerberus could work, but the Chromatic Aberration fits the vibe much better. Let's go. Here come the big hitters. On the CT side, if you're an M4A1S player like me, I think the best option is the Player 2. Don't get me wrong, it's an awesome skin, but the M4A4 skin is the epitome of anime skins in CSGO. For the M4A4, you already know we're going with the waifu. The Temu cow. This is just such a good skin in my opinion. On the T side, we're going to go with the AK-47 Neon Rider, which I absolutely love as well. For the Scout, the Dragonfire is a decent pick, but I ended up going with the Turbo Peak. The combination of the colors with the somewhat Tron-like car scene fits the loadout perfectly. Next, we have my favorite skin in the entire game, the AUG Akibara Accept. This skin is literally perfect. I love the color scheme so much and think it was pulled off immaculately. On the T side for the SG553, I went with the Integral. It's also a sick skin with the pastel colorway, but a nice budget option could be the Dragon Tech. Oh man, too bad they took out the Doodlore because it was my favorite skin, even beating out the AUG. It would have been a clear winner here for the Op, but instead I went with another personal favorite of mine, being the Oni Taiji. It's such a nice skin, and I'm so surprised I don't see it being used more often. I think I've only ever seen one guy using it in my entire CSGO career. For the Scar 20, I went with the Poultrygeist, and for the G3 SG1, I went with the Dreamglade. Now we're on to the heavy weapons, and you know we couldn't complete this list without seeing this iconic weapon finish somewhere. For the Nova, I went with the Hyper Beast. The XM options aren't great, but I ended up going with the Tranquility. On the CT side, the obvious choice for the Mag 7 is the Monster Call. For the T side, the Sawed-Off has a handful of options that would work, but the obvious choice here is the Kiss Love. For the M249, I went with the Nebula Crusader. This skin reminds me of playing pinball as a child, and I really wish it wasn't on such a useless weapon. The Negev has limited options, so the Power Loader was the best choice. Now things get really spicy. For the gloves, there are obviously so many options, and I bet you're expecting me to say the Pandora's boxes because I love purple. Well, I actually decided to go with a pair of Vice gloves. Because of the bright pink and light blue, that will match with almost all of these guns extremely well. Last, but certainly not least, is the knife. This may have been the easiest choice of the entire loadout. I went with the butt plug. I mean the shadow daggers. They look like little kunai, so it reminded me of Naruto in a way. And for the finish, I think the fade would look the best. The pinkish red handles look amazing and really just match the rest of the loadout. If you do decide to get a knife other than the shadow daggers though, I would recommend a Phase 2 Doppler because of the bright pink finish. That concludes my anime loadout in CSGO, and with everything combined, it comes out to just under $35,000. I'm giving away a factory new op pop-up when I hit 200 subscribers. If you'd like to enter, check out my most recent community post for instructions. Whittly out.